All righty, and we are live. Good morning, everybody. Let me check both of my streams here, make sure we're live everywhere. And we are. Okay. This is Katie Weaver, and you are watching Unchurch. It is the 15th of March, 2020, and we have had an unprecedented week. I don't know that there's a person on the planet that has seen what we're seeing currently with the coronavirus, and it's got everybody feeling pretty weird. So, we're going to talk about it today. I want to tell you guys that my sister Christy and I, part of the Psychic Sisters, we went live yesterday on YouTube and on my Facebook page and brought to you a group grounding session that I felt like was really positive and necessary. And sorry, not a group grounding session. I did that on my page on Friday. You can find that over on Facebook under Katie Weaver. I think on YouTube too, under Domestic Mystic. But Christy and I over on Katie Weaver, Domestic Mystic on Facebook, we did yesterday a group healing circle. And, Psychic Sisters style, if you have ever attended one of our healing circles. So if that's something that feels like would be beneficial to you, I would love for you to go check that out. So, but today, of course, it is Unchurch. I was thinking this morning how ironic that is. We started this group back in December as a gathering of souls, a gathering of people who maybe need something, would like a little bit of spiritual upliftment, a little bit of community on Sunday mornings. And just about every church I know of right now is closed. And so I'm sure some of them are streaming their events online as well. I'm sure that's the case. But seems like we're all doing Unchurch online this morning. So anyway, it is what it is. And yes, I am a little sick. It's not the coronavirus. I have a cold. But of course, I'm already in isolation. Isolation? That's not the right word. Well, anyway, I'm social distancing because my immune system is compromised. And so I'm one of those guys that just has to be careful. And I'm not afraid and I'm not freaking out, but I am going to be careful and smart. And to be honest, my husband and kids have basically banned me to the house. So here I am. They're not messing around. So I guess I'm not either, right? Anyway, you guys, I hope that you are doing well. As promised, Unchurched today, last week we talked about community and the idea of building community in the capacity of being able to help one another. I honestly wasn't quite prepared for what was going to happen this week in the sense of community, but here we are. So we're going to continue to build on that theme or on that topic. Community is something that we in our current day and age seem to be really lacking and missing in a lot of capacities. And so it is something that I feel like we need to continually hit on, continually talk about, and give each other the best chance we have of connection. I mean, does that mean that you guys aren't doing things now? Not at all. And I hope you are. And I think many of you already are. However, I think that it's possible that we can all maybe do a little better or at least evaluate our own efforts towards community. So that's kind of where my thoughts are at. But in this weird time, how do we help? How do we help when it feels a little helpless? How do we help when, obviously there's a lot of things we can't do right now. So, how do we build community? How do we help others? How do we help ourselves? So, that's what I wanted to talk about this morning. So, there are ways, there are some things that I want to suggest, some things to know. First and foremost, check on your neighbors, be aware of them, especially the elderly. Here's the thing, you guys. You might not be so freaked out. You might not be afraid. You might not be all that worried. And that's great and that's fine. But please recognize that others are. And you may have neighbors who have babies or who are elderly or who are cancer patients or lots of other things that are straight up terrified right now. And there may not be a lot you can do about their fear, but you can help them in more practical ways, right? Consider what their needs could be. Obviously, errand running, picking things up. If you are healthy and in a good spot to be able to enter the public in safe ways, if you can help with doing things like picking up prescriptions or picking up food, things like that, please consider that. People who are immune compromised that are afraid of using public transit right now might need a ride here and there, and that could potentially be a gap that you could fill. So just check on your neighbors, be aware of what they are doing, make sure that they know how to contact you if a need arises. That's a really big one. It's amazing. There have been a lot of studies on, neighborhoods here in the last few years that lots of neighbors don't know each other. They don't know each other's phone numbers. They may not even know each other's names. Pretty hard to help each other when we don't know each other. But at least check in. At least check in. You can even pick up prescriptions, food, etc., and leave it on the front steps. You can also help people to get connected to assistance if possible. Meals on Wheels is a big one right now for the elderly who don't want to leave the house. Meals on Wheels is a huge one. You may be able to help your neighbors to connect to Meals on Wheels or your loved ones, right? Maybe aunts and uncles or parents or grandparents or whoever. But speaking of Meals on Wheels, they are going to need volunteers that are healthy. They are going to probably need extra funding. So what can you do to help make sure that the elderly in your neighborhood don't go hungry? Because I don't know about you, but the thought of grandma and grandpa hungry and scared absolutely destroys my heart. I know it does yours too. So let's keep an eye on that. So Meals on Wheels is a biggie. The other is to help be tech support. Plenty of people are going to find themselves sequestered to their homes here in the next while who may not really understand how to use technology in a way that could benefit them. You might be able to be that person for them. You don't have to be a tech genius, right? To just help with tech support. Maybe it's as little as helping them reconnect their remote to the TV for the 5,000th time. That was by tech support to my grandma for years. That was it. It's all it took. But absolutely, of course. Yep. So Teresa in my chat says compassion and being unselfish is the key to surviving this. Breathe, love, and share. Absolutely, Teresa. I'm with you 100%. Compassion. As much as it pains me to say it, let's stop shaming people for their response. I am seeing so much ugly stuff online. Yes, somebody ran out and bought 500 rolls of toilet paper. No one else can get any. They're the douche. Well, maybe they're not. Maybe you don't understand why they did that. Maybe you don't also know that if you let someone know that you had a major need for toilet paper, that maybe they would help you out. But let's all be good on sharing our resources as we can and helping other people. It may be that you have something that they don't. I've seen some really sweet groups pop up here sharing things like diapers because diapers and formula are one of the things that have flown off of the shelves. You know, the privilege of being able to afford to stock up like that. I don't know if people understand how privileged that is versus somebody who lives paycheck to paycheck, buys one package of diapers at a time, buys one can of formula at a time, and right now is in dire straits. Now, if you know mamas who are struggling and don't have diapers and don't have formula, help them to remember to contact their pediatrician, to contact their local hospital, to contact health authorities that might have some resources to help them as well. But make sure that you're helping in that capacity if you can. That's a big one. That's a scary one. If you have a baby at home and resources to take care of that baby are running thin, that's pretty scary, right? So before you shame somebody for panicking or getting afraid, remember, we have very vulnerable parts of our society right now that are scared for good reason. I'm not saying be scared. I'm definitely not saying panic, but let's try really hard to be compassionate about other people's response to this. You may not quite understand why they are in the position they are in. Okay, Look for ways to connect and volunteer virtually. That's a big one right now, right? Because a lot of us are just home. We are online. That's what we're doing. Be a voice of kindness and reason on the internet, obviously. Be good to each other. There are some ways that you can volunteer online that are pretty brilliant. One that I learned about this morning that I think is so much fun, and this is just one of many, 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 is called the Be My Eyes app. So, the Be My Eyes app is an opportunity to connect blind people or visually impaired people with sight people, right? with some, you can be their seeing eye dog, really. They connect you virtually so that they can connect to this app and ask for help doing things like maybe reading a recipe or looking up a phone number or looking for does this shirt match these pants, or a myriad of different things. But you can actually volunteer to be someone's eyes and help them with tasks like that virtually. Does that not sound like the coolest thing? And that's just one of many, many, many ways. But hey, if you're home right now and you can't leave the house, why not volunteer in a really creative way like that? That one really sings to my soul. Obviously, try not to be wasteful and try to think about what other people need and share resources. We talked about that. Give blood. This is a big one if you can. Not everybody can give blood, of course. Not everybody has the right health for that or is qualified for it. But as we march deeper into this crisis, the Red Cross is saying that they already had a blood shortage and they anticipate it's going to get much worse. Why? Not because people that necessarily are going to need blood unless they have some other condition, but just because the people coming out to donate is dropping. So if you are healthy and qualified and you're comfortable, really consider giving blood. That's going to be a big one right now, as well as donating plasma. Big ones. Donating plasma is really important because if people are immune deficient, they have an immune deficiency disease, it is possible that they receive infusions of your plasma to help them to stay healthy. And so if everyone stops donating plasma right now, what do? They already are at the bottom of the herd as far as immunity goes. So consider things like that if you're healthy, right? All right. Be a leader if you can, right? Be a voice of reason. Be willing to send yourself home. Be willing to stay home, but also be willing to support people who feel like they need to as well. Be a leader in your neighborhood. Be a leader at work. Be a leader in your organizations. Be a voice of reason. And of course, take care of yourself. That's key right now, right? Take care of yourself. Now, lots of people already are feeling a little weird. So, and feeling a little locked in. I'll tell you this, I work from home. I spend most of my time at home. But as soon as I was told that I wasn't going anywhere, I got really, really uncomfortable. And so, a few things we have done. One is just taking drives out into nature. That just getting me out of the house has been good for me without having to go out into public, right? We also have gone through a drive-through a couple of times for a drink, and you can decide if you feel like that's safe for you or if it isn't. But just finding things to do. But of course, be creative. Try to spend some time off of line and off of social media in order to recharge yourself. Look for things that are fun and funny. Look for things that make you laugh and smile. Think about projects. Think about things that you've always thought, if I had some time at home, this is what I would do. Well, maybe this is your moment, right? Maybe this is your moment. But keep yourself healthy. That's really, really important. Think about the food banks. Food banks are going to be very overtaxed here in the next couple of months. If you can donate food or money to your local food banks, that's really, really important right now. Also, if you have people who need to benefit from a food bank, you can help in a few ways. First of all, you can take the stigma off of that by reassuring them that it's okay, that it's normal, that everybody needs a little help sometimes, right? Perhaps you can be a ride to the food bank if necessary, but do what you can to support people both in helping to supply if you can and helping people to benefit from the food bank if that's what they need to do. Both very important things. Again, of course, helping people that shouldn't leave home is going to be key right now. It's something that we have to remember, that while you might be in a great place to leave home, others aren't. And what can you do to support them? Helping young children books. If I had little ones in my family, I'd probably be drop shipping books from Amazon to them right now, thinking about things like that. Because we're going to have lots of mamas with kids at home looking for something to do. Most definitely. Of course, share information responsibly. Don't share anything about this virus online unless you have found it in 3 different sources. You have time right now, so don't just share stuff, just speak talking out your ass, right? Don't do that. Don't be that guy. We have a lot of that right now. So be very, very careful about what you share and knowing that it's true. And the best rule of thumb in journalism is you need to verify that in 3 different places. Check Snopes. Check the internet in several different spots. Make sure that what you're sharing is reasonably true, doesn't have an agenda behind it, and is helpful. And if it is, share away. But be careful. Just be careful that you're not sharing things that aren't true. That is a huge one right now. Connect with nature. Guess what? Most people aren't getting the coronavirus by taking a hike in the mountains, right? Still be smart. Still wash your hands. Still carry your hand sanitizers. Still be wise, of course. But right now, getting yourself into safe places outside is key. I know you can't all. I know some of you guys are in big cities, you're in places where getting yourselves outside is probably not really, you know, you may not really be able to pull it off right now. I get it. But if you can, don't just sit in the house and rot. Find ways to get outside. Like for us, even just taking a drive, because we still have a lot of snow. But I hope you guys don't. But finding a way to just get out is really, really important. Finding ways to connect to nature right now is huge. Here's why. We're all going to feel very drawn to just spend a ton of time right now on the internet, watching movies, connecting electronically. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no shame in that. But for your spirit, that can be a little tough on you. So make sure that you're balancing that time with time that you are maybe reading a book, or you are outside, or maybe you're working on your garden. Doing things that connect you to the earth right now is vital for your well-being. I just can't say it loud enough. In whatever way you can. Maybe you'll just start some plants, some flowers indoors or something like that. Be creative. One thing I know about you guys, one thing I know about me is that we are creative, we are smart, we are capable. So be creative. Don't waste your time. You've got time right now. That's the one thing you do have. So find a way to use it, right? Do some interesting things. If you sew, be sewing up a storm. Here's the thing, you can still order a lot of things you want and need online without being completely, jacked to the nines. Obviously, don't order your toilet paper online or you're going to pay a lot for it. But you could order hobby and craft things online and be okay. You could order fabric if you want to sew. You could order seeds. You could order soil. If there's things you want to do along those lines, you might also find one of those groups I'm talking about online that are community sharing resources that you might find somebody who has something you need. And hell, you might have something that someone else's needs. Above everything else, please, please let compassion reign. If we can all be more compassionate than we are afraid, if we can all be kinder than we are harsh, if we can all allow people to go through this time in the way that they see fit, We're all going to be better off for it. Above all, I think we have to remember that not everybody's going to go through this the same way. We've never done this before. None of us have ever lived through a time quite like this before in our lives, right? So, what do? Well, in some ways, you got to trust you, but that means you've got to let other people trust themselves too. And if you don't like their decisions, well, bro, you don't have to. That's about them, not you, right? I think the worst thing we can do right now is continually shame each other, attack each other, be it abusive with each other about the way we are choosing to go through this period. Let's not. Let's not. Instead, let's share. Let's think about other people. Let's really be convinced that our role right now is to help our entire community to weather this storm. Let's link arms, right? Nobody left behind. Let's help everybody. Let's stop with constantly having to question other people's worthiness, other people's choices, how other people got to the place they are in. That is completely irrelevant right now. Let's just be a part of the solution. We're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. I'm going to be okay because my family won't let me leave the house. We're going to be okay. But let's do this in a way that we can look back on and go, you know what? I'm glad that I did what I did. I'm glad I made the choices I did. You know, you may come out of this with a lot more friends. You may come out of this with a stronger sense of community. We may all come out of this in a stronger way, in a way that we have spread more love, more compassion. Maybe we'll finally tip the scales, right? That's the opportunity we have. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm damn well not going to waste it. This is our chance. So, this has been Unchurch. I promise to keep this at about 20 minutes. We're at 22 right now. I'm not going to keep you any longer. I know you've got things to do. You've got Netflix to watch. I'm kidding. You've got plenty to do because you've got a world to love right now, and so do I. You may see me going live a little bit more often in the next little while as I feel drawn to bring some kind of support or some kind of message that's coming through. If you need me, please just head over to katie-weaver.com. You'll learn everything you need to know about me over there. Thank you all so much for joining me this morning. Thank you for all of your thoughtful comments. I appreciate you very much. We'll be back, I'm sure. Take care.